fishing. People, when you're in the mood, let's go fishing. Well, it's just me and you. Head on down to the fishing hole. Grab your hat, get your pole. Let's go fishing when you're in the mood.
Canadian Sport Fishing is brought to you in part by Rapala, premium fishing gear crafted from experience. Yamaha, conquer outdoors. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Blue Cam, a cleaner running engine for a cleaner environment.
One of my favorite fish to target early in the season, when the weather's still cold, the water's cold, and a lot of the other fishing seasons aren't open yet, is the toothy Northern Pike. I have a lot of respect for it because it's one of the top predators in fresh water. And if you find one, you usually find a whole bunch in an area and you can catch them all day long. The only challenge is that they love weeds, and in the spring there aren't a lot of weeds out. So if you find the weeds, you find the fish. You know what? It's a cool morning, and I've been casting, and all of a sudden, kabam. Look it, nice pike. He's all rolled up in my line. It's early in the year, so these guys don't have a lot of fight, but he really whacked it. Look it, he's hooked just nicely on the outside edges of the mouth. Because it's cold, I had my gloves on, so I think I'm gonna take my gloves off. Look at the gorgeous colors on this fish. Now the tricky thing is if I get his head in the net, he might throw the hook. So I'm gonna try to get his whole body in there. Yes! Look at, you can see he's got something in his belly. So he's been eating well. He smacked that lure. Look at the gorgeous colors. I just appreciate how camouflaged these fish are. Just in the tissue. And see if I can get that line off him. Yeah, this fish rolled about 7, 8 times in the line. Look it, isn't that a Northern Pike? It sure is. Look at those beautiful colors, and look at that fish went down a little bit in his belly. So he's been eating well. All right, Mr. Northern. Let's see, you should be taking off pretty quick because the water's cold. Are you ready, sir? You're upright. I like that. Beautiful. You know what? That was a nice waker-up fish. Let me tell you though, because I'm fishing early in the year, and the water's pretty cold, I decided to go with the long fluorocarbon leader. So this is actually 30-pound Suffix fluoro, and I'm using one of those Rapala snaps, which really allows the lure to work. Actually, I think it's a VMC snap. And then, of course, one of my favorite and one of the best all-round pike lures is the Husky Jerk, and this is the number 14. Now, if you look at the first and second hook, you can see that the hooks are actually opened. This one's got 2 open hooks. So these Husky Jerks have really nice, light wire, very sharp hooks, but the only thing is if the fish rolls in the line, they can open the hooks up. So I'm gonna make sure that they are the right configuration. So that's something that's very important almost every time you hook a fish, especially a fish like a pike that rolls in the line. Make sure that the hooks aren't open and bend them back so they've got that classic bend. One of my favorite strategies to get early season pike is to find shallow bays or marina basins where I know the water's going to warm up a little bit quicker than the main lake. When I find them, they're usually in shallow water, and I use a variety of techniques to get them to strike. If they're active, I'll run spinners, and I'll run lures like spinner baits that move pretty quickly horizontally along the water. But if they're not active, I'll use a twitching presentation or even soft plastics to get them to strike. You know, when you're looking for pike early in the season, it can be a little bit challenging because pike love weeds. And the problem is that when the water temperature is cold, like in the 40s or even 50 Fahrenheit, there's not a lot of weed growth. So what I've done today is I've actually gone into a big marina basin, and I'm working the shorelines and even in between the docks that have no boats yet, because the water's a little bit warmer. It's anywhere from 52 to 54 degrees. And you can see on the bottom that even in about 7-8 feet, we're just starting to get a little bit of sparse weed growth. So this is one of the key things. In about 2 weeks, this will be right to the top and almost solid weeds. It'll be unfishable. So one of the best places to locate these roaming pike is right where this drops off, where the weeds end. So literally it's a very deep weed line in shallow water, if that makes sense. So if I'm fishing in about 10 feet of water, I want to fish the spot where these weeds just end, because the pike will cruise up and down, and then they'll go onto the weeds to feed and back off and cruise all along that edge. Nice little, they call them hammer handles when they're smaller. Look at this, a nice little northern. And man, does that chartreuse grub ever look bright inside of his mouth. Look at, nice little northern. Now he's starting to scrap once I got him in the net. Look at these gorgeous colors. I know he's flopping around, but look at, he's got golds and greens in here. Beautiful fish. Watch him right himself and take off. Look at, gorgeous. This is interesting. This is a friend of mine. His name is Scott Martin. His lure company is called MFS Baits. And he does a combination of spinners, and he does plastic grubs and spoons and jigging lures for salt water. But what I've done here, I've taken one of his spinners, and the way they come, they look like this in the package. So you can see that they come rigged with a single hook that's in there. Hopefully you can see the hook. And it's kind of nice because they have a split ring, and you can actually change it. So what I did, I took one of his jig heads. This is a 1/4 ounce chartreuse, and I added it onto there. The nice thing about doing this is that you can change the weight of the spinner. So because I'm only fishing in about 5 to 7 feet of water, I've got a 1/4 ounce jig head. If I was fishing deeper and I wanted that spinner to go down, all I would do is switch that jig head to a 1/3 ounce or even a 1/2 ounce, or change the type of twister that I'm using, or a twin tail or a split tail beetle, and that kind of thing. So you know, spinners work really well for northern pike, especially later on in the year. But even this early in the year when the water's cold in the 50s, using a spinner and a plastic grub combination and just slow rolling it close to the bottom can work really well.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Cable's Eyewear Retainer. Lightweight, comfortable, adjustable, and waterproof.
Pike are top predators in their environment, and they love to eat smaller fish. For that reason, using any minnow imitating lures like a Rapala husky jerk, or some of the swim baits like the Lunker City grubster, or even the freaky fish work really well. The key is to get down to the level that the fish are swimming at and feeding at. Boy, I saw this pike come up, follow that husky jerk, and then turned, and then I let the husky jerk just sit there, twitched it a couple times, and bang. Very exciting. They're aggressive, they fight hard even for their smaller sizes, and they're a lot of fun to catch. Oh, what a nice release. Look, I didn't have to net it. Wasn't that nice? Perfect. One of my all-time favorite lures for northern pike, especially early in the year when the water's clear and cold, is to twitch a Rapala husky jerk. Now the one that I'm holding up here is part of their live series, and I want to show you 3 different ones. So look at, this is the smelt. Look at how lifelike that looks. Okay, this is the northern pike. Look at how realistic that looks. I mean, these are awesome to use, especially in clear water. Now, if the water was going to be dirtier or later on in the year when there's a lot of algae, I would go with a very bright color, like this fluorescent chartreuse. You can see that that's almost like a glow color with that orange on the belly. So my rule for fishing for northern pike, because they have such good vision, is if the water's clear and you've got pretty good light intensity, go with the natural lifelike colors. If it's turbid waters because of algae or because it's stirred up or low light, go with the fluorescent colors. You'll be surprised at how many fish you'll catch. All right, river. We got another one on. It's so nice and peaceful in here. I think I'm the only boat fishing just in between these vacant docks. I'm letting off the drag just a bit because I see he's only got one hook in his mouth and he's head shaking. And it'd be nice to get this guy in the net. Okay, perfect, got him. I love they almost got like that blue sheen in the cheeks. Okay, back in the water for you. Look at it, so pretty. Trying to get his head out a little bit. And I know he's not going to take long. Where is he? There's his head. Watch. Nice release. Look, freedom is yours. You gotta go. I'm gonna take the net away. Look how camouflaged he is. Oh God, I was gonna say, look how camouflaged he is, and then he just took off. Pike can hit one of two ways. One, they can smash a lure and take off and turn, and that usually produces a very hard strike and your line just sizzles out. Or you can feel just a tap on your line and then nothing. And that means that the pike has engulfed your bait and is actually swimming towards you. And when you think you don't have a fish on, all of a sudden the line peels off and you realize that you in fact have a pike on. Pike tend to run, stop, and then you reel them back in. Oh, it's another little pike. Come on. Nice thrashes. I'm going to try to just lift it in. Look, he's not big. There. Look at little pike, just as aggressive as his big ones. Okay, are you going to take off gently or are you going to soak me? I don't think you can soak me. You're too little. Come on. There he goes. Nice and easy. You know, when you're fishing for northern pike, it's a really good idea to use some kind of a leader. Doesn't matter whether you use braided line or monofilament line. What I did today was just use a long fluorocarbon 30-pound test leader with a snap. Now, if you're fishing later on in the summer when the pike have a lot more energy, I would really suggest that you go to a steel or a titanium leader. And what I like is this year I see VMC has a braided titanium leader material out. This particular one is about 75 pounds in weight, but you can see how thin it is. The nice thing about titanium is that unlike steel, it doesn't twist, and if it does twist up, it comes undone. There's no problem. Usually if you use the multi-strand stainless, it'll get coily after you get a few fish because pike tend to roll in the line. Once you get that coil, you really can't get it out. So titanium is really good for that. And then the other leaders that I have here, these again are manufactured by BMC, and this particular one is 150-pound fluorocarbon. So if you're a serious musky fisherman or you're going after really big pike with large lures, using up to 150 pounds is a good idea. In the summertime, it's pretty easy to locate pike. All you have to do is spot the weed beds, literally right up to the surface, and start casting around them or troll around them if they're very large weed lines and weed beds. But in the springtime, it's a little bit tougher because you can't see anything. Everything is down close to the bottom. If you want to find the weeds when they're only growing close to the bottom, you have to use a high-quality sonar. In my case, I use a Raymarine Axiom when I'm at the console, and I look for weeds that are coming up about 6 to 10 inches off the bottom. Once I locate those weeds, I get my fishing rod and I go to the front platform and I lower my electric in, and then I turn my dragonfly on so I can see exactly what's below me. The only way you can tell where the weeds are is having a good sonar. And when you find those young weeds, you usually find those early season pike. Yes! On a jig. Come on, let's see ya. You can see that grubster just sticking out of the side of its mouth. What a nice sight. All right, okay. See if I can take this out. Because I'm not using a lure with 3 trebles, I am bold enough to just pop that hook out. But look, there's that grubster. You can see it's like a pearl color belly with that dark brown back. You can see the way that tail is hanging down. If I move it from side to side, when you reel it in, it gives it an amazing action. It's a great lure to use. Look, nice little northern. I tell you what, they're spunky, even in this cold weather. Fun to catch. All right. I like the fact that they've got lots of, with this cold water, look at, no problem releasing them. Just trying to extend this guy out. There he goes. Beautiful. I think pike are beautiful fish. They have gorgeous modeling, camouflage colors down the side. They're long and slick. They're like a rocket when they dart off. And they have that flat head that many people call like a gator head. And of course, it's studded with teeth. You have to respect that fish. What a nice surprise. Look, I'm targeting pike, and I've got a nice smallmouth on. River, look. You can see him fighting in that clear water river. It's kind of tough to have a conversation with the dog. You know, it's pretty well one way. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can lift this guy right by the leader. Okay, I'm gonna get him back in the water. Quick release. And there he goes. Now, the nice thing about pike fishing is that the stronger the light gets, the more they can start feeding because they rely so much on their eyesight. So you can get them all day long. Are you gonna jump? What are you gonna do? He's playing a sleeper again. Come on. He's not big. River, you be careful. Okay, I'm gonna try lifting this guy. He's not hooked too bad. Let's hope he doesn't thrash too much. Just gonna grab him real carefully. There. And you know what? Look, he's just got the one hook in the cheek. There. Little guy. I'm just gonna toss this guy back. Looks like he's got some scars from a bigger pike trying to grab him. You can see those marks right there. Good thing that the bigger fish went to grab him by the tail, not by the head. Okay, there you go, buddy. Gone. Now, you know, when I'm using the twitch bait this early in the year, I cast it out. I make a pretty long cast. I'm gonna say about 100, 120 feet. And then I keep my rod tip really close to the water. That gives me lots of room to set the hook. And if you keep your eyes on my left hand and my right hand is twitching the rod, my left hand is continuously reeling, it's not stopping. Northern pike are definitely a great game fish. What I like is that they're very aggressive by nature, so if you find them, doesn't matter whether you're using live bait or you're casting lures, it probably won't take long to catch one. I don't even care if they're big or small. I just enjoy catching them and I respect them. So when I release them, I try to be very careful and let them revive in the water before they take off. The nice thing about getting them early in the season when the water's cold, their metabolism is low. So they usually revive very quickly and take off. You know, I love twitching for northern pike, casting spinners, but I especially like using soft plastics. And today, I did well with the grubster, which is this lure that I'm holding up here. It's made by Lunker City. And the one thing that I really like is how limp the plastic is at the back. So a lot of soft plastics, you'll see, are pretty stiff and they look straight like this. That tells you that they're not gonna have a lot of tail action, but the grubster has an amazing flapping action from side to side. The other lure that works really, really well when you're fishing for northern pike, especially in shallow water, is the freaky fish. This is the one that's made by Lunker City. It looks like a finesse fish, but it's much wider. And what I've got it rigged up with is one of these VMC heavy-duty swim bait hooks. Now what I like about these swim bait hooks is that they have a spring, a coiled spring, that you actually put inside the plastic at the front. You can see there's a little bit of gap where I put that screw into the actual soft plastic that holds it in place, and the eye is exposed, which is very easy to either put a snap on or to tie directly. And this is a wide gap or a wide bend hook. And the reason I like that is when a fish comes on it and it shuts its mouth on it, there's lots of room for that hook to come up and hook the fish. The last soft plastic is the original Sluggo. This was probably the first plastic swim bait ever developed on the market. It looks simple, it's streamlined, but it has great action, and you can work it side to side almost like a walk the dog underwater. And all three of these work very well with those VMC wide gap hooks that just screw in. Great to use, especially in clear, shallow water where you've had fish come up and miss other lures. Throw this out and twitch it slowly, any one of these, and you'll probably get the fish to hit. These guys, as soon as they hit, they come right to the surface. River, he's not ready yet. I don't trust him. That's what pike do. You bring him in, and then they take a long run and take off again. I don't know if I can lift this one in the boat, because he's a little bit bigger than the other one. Is he going to make one more run? This is decisions, right? Yeah, he made one more run. Come on. I'll try it. I don't want to lose that lure, though. He's a little bit heavier than the other one. Look it, he got pinned. He went to hit it head first, but then he got the other two hooks just in the side. That happens quite a bit, both when you're getting pike and bass. There. You know, if you're going to do this like I'm doing, you got to really squeeze hard because you don't want it to flop out of your hands. Look at nice, healthy northern pike. Beautiful fish. Okay, as soon as he hits the water, he's going to take off. Boom. Gone. I must be entertaining my two dogs. You know, when my wife can't fish with me or guys are too busy to come out, I love taking my dogs out. They're great companions. Hey, River, you're a good girl. And Mulligan underneath the console.
Canadian Sport Fishing has been brought to you in part by Rapala, premium fishing gear crafted from experience. Yamaha, conquer outdoors. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Blue Cam, a cleaner running engine for a cleaner environment.
What that continuous twitching and reeling does is enables that twitch rate to go down about 6-7 feet. So that's almost near the bottom here, because a lot of these fish are actually laying on the bottom or swimming right along the bottom. So there's very little weed growth. I've marked a little bit of weed growth on my dragonfly, the fish finder at the front, and it's just starting. And it seems that the pattern is that wherever there's a little bit of weed growth, that's where the pike are.